Hey guys, film recaps here, and today we're covering a 2009 horror slasher movie called Laid to Rest. The movie opens with flash scenes of kidnap, a lady trying to force her way out of imprisonment by a stronger person. There are terrifying scenes of bodies and a display of people being eliminated. The lady is brought into focus with fear evident in her every breath. She looks around her confinement and doesn't find any way out. She screams out for help but doesn't get a response. She bangs hard, tumbling over and falling off from the coffin she has been locked in. She searches desperately for a way out and eventually finds an open door. She spots a telephone on the wall and dials 911. She gives the little details she remembers about her situation and location. She walks around, surveying the area. There's a corpse on a tray. She looks through a curtain and sights a man wearing a skull mask. She asks if he's from the police. Does he look like he's from the police? As if provoked, the person runs toward her. She runs back in horror and hears another voice outside through the same curtain. She goes to look and finds an aged man. He tries to set her free as she mouths a sign of warning for him to watch out, but he doesn't hear. Then from behind, he is eliminated by the masked man. Afterward, she runs out of the house and into the street. Upon reaching there, a man in a vehicle offers her a lift. Probably how she got kidnapped in the first place. There's a logical reason you're not supposed to talk to strangers. He introduces himself as Tucker and she narrates her story to him. She doesn't seem to remember anything, not even her name. He takes her to his house, and as she rests, Tucker speaks to his wife, Cindy, about letting her stay for a while. After some persuasion, Cindy decides to speak to her. She narrates her ordeal to her, and Cindy consoles her. Meanwhile, the masked man is sighted treating himself with a syringe somewhere else. The lady takes a shower as the couple discusses. Tucker spots a blood patch on the pillow she used, and she screams as she feels pain from behind her skull. Tucker offers to treat her wound. He opts to pick out a name for her, and she chooses Princess Gemstone from a memory she had during her childhood. Meanwhile, the masked man holds Cindy's head by the window. Tucker sees them and begs for her life, but the masked man wants only the lady. Maybe he has a crush on her and doesn't know how to tell her. Tucker even offers his own life, but the masked man doesn't agree. Just then, he eliminates Cindy. Tucker pushes the masked man aside, and Tucker and Princess run into the woods. Which is most likely where the masked man lives. Somewhere in the woods, Cindy's brother, Johnny, and his lover Jamie drive in. Johnny narrates how he thinks Tucker is cheating on his sister. Well, he doesn't have to worry about that anymore. He states his mission to inform Cindy about this. They spot the masked man's vehicle with a weird number plate, Krumskull. Jamie waits in the car as Johnny checks the car. As he returns, Jamie asks if he'd ever cheat on her. Are you expecting a yes? While Johnny answers her, Krumskull attacks his face. The horror continues as Jamie gets out of the car crying. She looks around for the killer. Somehow, every horror movie serial killer has the supernatural ability to disappear. She doesn't see him and she attempts to run away. Her efforts are proven futile when she realizes that she has sustained an abdominal cut by the killer. Her end comes slowly as she tries to cover up the wound. The night reveals Princess and Tucker in a vehicle, with Tucker mourning the loss of his wife. They both agree to find a place nearby and get a telephone, knowing their lives depend on it. They go to the nearest house, whose occupant, Stephen, expresses displeasure at the late-night call. He offers them his computer in the absence of a landline. They then send a distress message to the sheriff's email. Princess goes to wash her face, and Stephen helps search for the probable killer online. They find a match on the FBI's most wanted list, a celebrity serial assassin. They learn his pattern of crime, which is to abduct and finish off women from different states. Well, it's not so bad to love diversity. The last missing woman was coming from Miami, and Tucker tells Stephen to search for the list of all missing girls there. Princess comes downstairs after a brief trance she had of Krumskull. Tucker proposed that they head for the sheriff's station, against Stephen's wish. They grab a handful of tools from Stephen's trunk as weapons. They enter the station but do not find anyone there. Using a walkie-talkie, Tucker speaks to Sheriff Bates, reporting the situation. Bates tells them where to meet him. They head there, and Princess notices a video camera on a body in the cell. Tucker and Stephen survey the area, and Tucker calls Bates again. This time, the voice sounds mechanical and they realize it's not Bates. Looks like there's a new sheriff in town. As they keep scanning for traces of life, the prison bar creaks under Princess's hand. The video camera is activated, and Krumskull comes charging from a closet behind her. He barely cuts Princess as Tucker pushes him away, engaging in a tug of war. They all rush towards the exit, with Krumskull in pursuit. They all enter the car and drive far away from the station. They pass the cemetery where Princess was held captive, and she orders them to stop the vehicle. Probably forgot her expensive lip gloss. Later on, she chooses to go in so she can remember anything. They both object, but eventually Tucker goes in with her. She shows him the murder scene of the old man. While Tucker is treating Princess's wounds, Steven seems to be hearing things. He sees his lifeless mother moving in a vehicle not far away and fear grips him. As he tries convincing himself he's seeing things, Tucker bangs on the door, which scares him. Steven tells them about his hallucinations, as Chromeskull returns Steven's mother's body that he is carrying around. In the cemetery, the entire situation overwhelms Tucker, and he almost goes insane. He has hope that Johnny will come over, but then he remembers Cindy and decides to go back. As Tucker leaves, Princess decides to go after Chromeskull. To kill him with kindness, perhaps? This doesn't sit well with Steven. While Steven makes his way around, Steven tries to talk sense into Princess, giving her proof that they're outmatched. They hear Tucker thrashing around, and Princess decides that they're going to meet him instead. Outside, Steven and Princess spot Chromeskull adding some medical adhesive to his mask. Princess catches his attention by moving, and Steven tries to create a distraction from her so Chromeskull doesn't finish her off. Princess hides behind a coffin, and Chromeskull detects movement but doesn't do anything. She looks inside the coffin, sees a body, and a lady bound by all four limbs to the coffin. The lady screams for help, and Chromeskull comes running. Princess tries to cut off the ropes before he reaches them, but they're too thick. Princess runs to get help, but as Chromeskull gets there, he holds the bound girl by the head and ends her life. He finds Princess and takes her away. Up next, Steven hears her cries and calls out for Princess, while Chromeskull saves the tape of the latest murder. He inserts another tape labeled Miami into the video camera. He resumes recording, fixing the lens to a drilled hole in the coffin. She hears her voice, as Chromeskull marks out a circle around the camera with his knife. Meanwhile, Tucker breaks in, cursing as he fires aimless shots at Chromeskull. One strike hits him and he falls over. They search every coffin till they find her. Looking through the camera, Steven thinks she's gone until she opens her eyes. Tucker sets her free as Steven reloads the revolver. After pulling Princess out, Steven finds the keys to Chromeskull's vehicle, and they drive away. In the car, they find a cell phone and try making a call, but the phone is locked with a password. They try different words, indulging Chromeskull, but they're all wrong. Meanwhile, Chromeskull rises from one of the coffins, fixing up his wounds. Serial assailants always seem to have a high amount of luck in these movies. They decide to drive off with Chromeskull's car to a nearby town and restock on ammunition and other things. They search the car, and Princess finds tapes in the glove compartment, while Steven finds his mother's body in the trunk. Tucker consoles Steven. Princess wants to go to the market, but Steven is emotional about the misuse of his mother. Tucker insists that they remain where they are until dawn, then go to his house to meet Johnny. He helps Steven carry his mother's body out of the car, while Princess remains distant. This is an odd time to go grocery shopping, don't you think? While they carry her inside, Princess uses Chromeskull's car to take herself to the market. Probably just hungry from all that running, Tucker and Steven trek back to the cemetery. They brainstorm and find out that Chromeskull can track her down. Meanwhile, Chromeskull does just that, and remotely locks down the vehicle with Princess inside. Meanwhile, Princess stops the car at the nearest market. She sees a couple of boys in honks to call their attention, but they ignore her. The phone beside her beeps and she reads the text, which reads, "Hello Miami." He calls his victims by where he kidnapped them from. How touching. Almost immediately, she sees Chromeskull advancing toward her. He breaks in through the window even as she kicks furiously to keep him at bay. She sticks her thumb through the mask in his eyes and discovers he doesn't have any. That's just great. She continues honking, but the boys mistake this for craziness. Chromeskull starts his recorder but finds out he is out of tape. He threatens her to go get a new one from the market and she agrees, knowing there's no way to escape him. Chromeskull sends her threatening messages through the cell phone in her hands. Later on, she walks into the store, waiting behind the two men who are desperately trying to get the storekeeper to sell them some booze against the law. She moves forward and requests for a videotape after getting another warning text from Chromeskull. As she pays, the store clerk sees the message, and he cocks his shotgun. She tries to stop him but he doesn't budge. The two guys restrain her as she tries to pull him back. One of the men, Anthony, calls 911. The store clerk heads toward Chromeskull, motioning threats. Chromeskull gets a knife and slowly advances toward him. And right before them, he eliminates the store clerk. Anthony goes to lock the back door. Tucker and Steven arrive and grab Chromeskull's briefcase on their way in. Afterward, Tucker and Steven bang on the door, and Princess tells the other boy named Tommy to let them in. She apologizes for leaving them, and Tucker asks about Anthony. Tommy goes to check but finds only blood. They look around the store for other weapons, and Steven finds some cyanoacrylate which he puts in Chromeskull's briefcase. He explains its potency to Princess. Just as they all come together, a new message beeps on the phone. Princess tells Steven not to go near it, but he does. Just as he heads over to read the message, Chromeskull grabs him by the head and eliminates him with tire sealant. Tucker shoots at Chromeskull but to no avail. He takes him head on and gets injured. Princess screams and runs into the freezer behind her so he can't reach her. She tells him she knows his identity. He plays her a tape from when she had not lost her memory showing her she was a substance-addicted escort. She calls him to come to get her, saying that she doesn't care anymore. He agrees, and in the struggle to reach her, his mask falls off. He sprays the cyanoacrylate on the mask and puts it on his face, mistaking it for his mask glue, and it burns him straight away. Stepping out, she treads carefully and hits his decomposing face hard with a baseball bat. He's going to permanently need that mask. She sees a missing person flyer of herself in Tucker's breast pocket. Leaving a note, she heads out to meet Tommy, and they drive away to Atlanta. In the final scene, the cops arrive and find the note, and the movie comes to end. Thanks for watching, guys.